Have you ever wondered how a book written thousands of years ago could still hold relevance in today's world? This is the question we'll be exploring as we dive deep into the heart of one of the oldest texts known to humankind, the Book of Genesis. Genesis, the first book of the Bible, opens the doors to a narrative that has shaped civilizations, influenced cultures, and sparked debates across millennia. It's a book of beginnings, the birth of the world, the inception of humanity, and the origins of sin and redemption. But what makes Genesis more than just an ancient text? What gives it its enduring appeal? It's the universal themes that it explores. Themes that resonate with us today, just as they did with the people thousands of years ago. Consider the story of creation. It's not just about the formation of the earth and the skies, but a testament to the power of creativity and innovation, concepts that are at the heart of our modern world. Then, there's the narrative of sin, beginning with Adam and Eve. It's a poignant reminder of the consequences of our actions, a lesson about personal responsibility and accountability, values that are as relevant today as they were then. And let's not forget the theme of redemption, the promise of a second chance. In a world where we often falter, Genesis provides a comforting assurance, the promise that it's never too late to make amends, to change, to grow. But Genesis isn't just a relic of the past. It's a living, breathing text that continues to guide, inspire, and challenge us. It speaks to our deepest fears and highest hopes. It's a mirror reflecting our triumphs and failures, our dreams and realities. So as we delve into this ancient text, we'll see that Genesis isn't just about the past. It's about us. It's about our world. It's about our shared humanity. As we journey through this video, prepare to uncover the timeless truths hidden in the ancient book of Genesis. Might the book of Genesis provide insights that align with modern scientific understanding? This is a question that has intrigued scholars and theologians alike for centuries. The Genesis account of creation, with its poetic language and profound metaphors, has often been perceived as being at odds with the empirical nature of modern science. However, a closer look may reveal unexpected parallels. Consider the creation story in Genesis. It describes a process of creation that unfolds over 7 days, a timeline that many have interpreted metaphorically rather than literally. Some see this as a poetic way of illustrating the systematic and ordered nature of the universe's creation, which doesn't necessarily contradict the scientific theory of the Big Bang. The Big Bang theory postulates that the universe began from a singularity, a point of infinite density and temperature, and has been expanding ever since. This is not entirely dissimilar to the Genesis account, which begins with the universe in a formless void state and then describes a process of expansion and separation, light from darkness, waters above from waters below, land from sea. Genesis also describes the creation of life, starting with plants, then sea creatures and birds, followed by land animals, and finally humans. This sequence remarkably mirrors the evolutionary timeline proposed by modern science, with life originating in the seas and gradually evolving into more complex forms. It's important to note that the Genesis account isn't a scientific textbook and was never intended to be. Its purpose is not to provide a detailed scientific explanation of the universe's creation, but to communicate profound truths about the nature of God, the world, and our place in it. However, these parallels between Genesis and modern science are fascinating, aren't they? They remind us that the divide between science and faith may not be as wide as we sometimes think. The two can coexist, each providing its own unique insights into the mysteries of our existence. Indeed, the book of Genesis and science might not be at odds as it appears on the surface. As we continue to explore the Genesis narrative, let's keep in mind the value of viewing it through multiple lenses, enriching our understanding of this ancient text and its relevance to our modern world. In a world where moral boundaries are constantly being pushed, could Genesis provide a moral compass? Let's dive into this intriguing proposition. Genesis, the first book of the Bible, is rich with stories that offer profound moral lessons. Take, for instance, the story of Cain and Abel. This tale of two brothers, one of whom succumbs to jealousy and commits the first murder, warns us about the destructive power of negative emotions. In today's world, where competition and envy are often amplified by social media and societal pressures, This lesson remains as relevant as ever. Then, there's the story of Noah, a man of righteousness in a world consumed by wickedness. Despite the scorn and ridicule he faced, Noah remained steadfast in his faith and obedience to God, ultimately saving humanity from a catastrophic flood. This narrative reminds us of the virtue of standing for what's right, even when it's unpopular, a principle that is still applicable today, amid the cacophony of conflicting voices and opinions. And who could forget Abraham, the epitome of faith and obedience? His willingness to sacrifice his beloved son Isaac at God's command showcases his unparalleled devotion. While we may not face such extreme tests, we often encounter situations where we are called to put aside our personal desires for a higher cause. Abraham's story serves as a timeless reminder of the nobility in selflessness and obedience. These stories, and many others from Genesis, provide us with a moral framework that transcends time and culture. They prompt us to consider our own actions and attitudes in the light of eternal principles: love, faith, obedience, and righteousness. In a world where moral boundaries are being redefined and pushed, these narratives from Genesis offer a beacon of moral clarity. They remind us that while circumstances change, principles don't. They challenge us to uphold these values even when it's difficult or goes against the grain. It seems that the book of Genesis is not just an ancient text, but a guide for moral living, even today. How could the book of Genesis influence our personal lives in this modern era? Let's take a moment to delve into this. Genesis, as the first book of the Bible, sets the foundation for many themes that are integral to our faith and can have profound effects on our personal beliefs and behaviors. Consider the theme of creation. Genesis tells us that the world and everything in it was created by God. This belief can imbue our lives with a sense of purpose and meaning. If the universe is a product of divine design, then our lives are not random or meaningless, but part of a larger, grander plan. This perspective can help us find peace in tumultuous times and can inspire us to respect and care for the world around us. Now let's look at the theme of sin. The story of Adam and Eve's disobedience in the Garden of Eden is a powerful reminder of the consequences of our actions. This narrative can guide our personal behaviors, encouraging us to strive for moral integrity and to avoid actions that could harm ourselves or others. Finally, the theme of redemption is a beacon of hope in our personal lives. Despite Adam and Eve's transgressions, God provided them with a path for redemption. This shows us that no matter how far we've strayed, there is always a way back. This belief can give us the courage to confront our mistakes, to seek forgiveness, and to strive for better. To illustrate, imagine a modern-day scenario where a person is tempted to lie to gain an advantage. The themes of Genesis can guide this individual to make the right choice. The theme of creation reminds them of their inherent worth and purpose. The theme of sin warns them of the potential consequences, and the theme of redemption assures them that it's never too late to make the right choice. The book of Genesis continues to impact our lives, shaping our beliefs and guiding our behaviors. The timeless themes of creation, sin, and redemption continue to resonate in this modern era, providing us with a roadmap for our personal journeys. How then should we approach the book of Genesis in our daily lives? This question is not just for the scholars, theologians, or clergy, but for every individual from all walks of life. The book of Genesis, a treasure trove of timeless wisdom, offers us guidance on how we can navigate through the complexities of our modern world. To begin with, take a moment each day to read a verse or a chapter from Genesis. This simple act of daily reading can become a source of inspiration, providing us with insights that can help us tackle life's challenges. But reading alone isn't enough. Reflect on what you read. Ask yourself, what does this verse mean? How does it apply to my life? This reflection is key to understanding the essence of the teachings and incorporating them into our lives. Genesis is not just a historical or theological document, it's a guidebook for life. It teaches us about the power of faith, the importance of obedience, and the significance of personal responsibility. By applying these principles, we can lead a life of purpose and meaning. Now, you might wonder, how can I strengthen my relationship with God through Genesis? The answer lies in prayer and meditation. Use the teachings of Genesis as a springboard for your spiritual conversations with God. Share your thoughts, your fears, your hopes with Him. In this intimate communion, you will find comfort, guidance, and a renewed sense of purpose. And remember, embracing the teachings of Genesis is not about following a set of rules. It's about cultivating a mindset, a way of life that reflects the values and principles found in its verses. It's about adopting an attitude of humility, a spirit of generosity, and a heart full of love. In conclusion, the book of Genesis is more than just the first book of the Bible. It's a blueprint for living a fulfilling and meaningful life. It's a guide that helps us navigate the complexities of our modern world with wisdom and grace. In embracing the teachings of Genesis, we find timeless wisdom for our modern lives.